The day I became the most hated man in Pinot Meadows was the same day I became its most powerful. $600. That's what Linda Prescott and her homeowners association fined me for flying an American flag in my front yard. What they didn't know was that I had 3 million reasons to fight back and enough firefighter grit to use every single one of them. If you're watching this video from your phone, hiding in the garage to escape those mind-numbing HOA meetings, drop a comment below, telling me where you're sneaking a peek. I guarantee this story will keep you glued to your screen. Asterisk, my name is Jack Sullivan. And until 4 months ago, I was living what most would call a hard-earned American dream. I'm a retired firefighter, 46 years old, who served 22 years with the Denver Fire Department, saving lives and homes through wildfires and city blazes. I also built a solid nest egg by investing in a chain of local gyms, selling my stake for enough to retire comfortably. But life has a way of reminding you that peace is fragile. My wife, Emily, passed away from ovarian cancer 18 months ago, leaving me to raise our 14-year-old daughter, Riley, alone. The grief was a heavier burden than any burning building. The only thing that kept us connected was our tradition of raising the American flag together every morning. Ritual Emily started to honor my service and our country's resilience. Asterisk, when Riley and I needed a fresh start. I chose Pinot Meadows, an upscale Colorado community with tidy homes, good schools, and a central community green perfect for gatherings. I needed a place where Riley could thrive, and the open space seemed ideal for her track practices. The realtor mentioned an HOA, but called it standard oversight for aesthetics and maintenance. I should have caught the hesitation in his voice when he said, "The HOA president, Linda Prescott, is committed to community standards." Asterisk, I'd faced worse than petty bureaucrats in burning buildings. How bad could one neighborhood busybody be? I found out on a sunny Saturday morning in August. Riley and I had just raised our American flag on a 10-foot pole in our front yard, a modest setup that met city codes. We were heading inside when a woman in her early 60s, dressed in a crisp linen suit and clutching a tablet, stormed across my lawn. Her silver hair was pulled into a tight bun, and her expression suggested she'd caught me setting off fireworks in a drought. Asterisk, Mr. Sullivan, she began, her voice sharp. I'm Linda Prescott, HOA president. Your flagpole is an unauthorized structure, violating our aesthetic guidelines. You'll need to remove it and pay a $600 fine. Asterisk, I wiped my hands on my jeans, keeping my tone steady. Good morning, Ms. Prescott. I'm Jack Sullivan. We moved in 3 months ago. This flag is city approved and it's on my property. It's how I honor my service as a firefighter. Asterisk, her eyes flicked to the flag, then to me. I appreciate your patriotism, but Pinot Meadows has strict rules. All exterior modifications require HOA approval. You were notified via email. She tapped her tablet, showing a document titled, Exterior Aesthetic Amendment, dated 6 weeks earlier. Asterisk, I never got any email, I said, feeling Riley tense beside me. And this is an American flag, not a garden gnome. Why ban it? Asterisk, Linda's smile was cold. It's about uniformity. Not everyone wants to see certain displays while enjoying their morning coffee. This isn't a military base. The implication hit hard. My service, our flag, was being dismissed as an eyesore. Asterisk, there's no way I'm taking it down, I said firmly. Send me the fine details and the full regulations. Asterisk, her lips pursed. Very well. Check your email, Mr. Sullivan. Non-compliance has consequences. She turned and strode away, her heels sinking slightly into my grass. Asterisk, Riley's voice shook as we lowered the flag to avoid further trouble. Dad, why does she hate our flag? Mum loved it. Her eyes were wet, and my heart broke. This was supposed to be our fresh start, a place to honor Emily's memory. Instead, we were being targeted for pride in our country. Asterisk, some people love rules more than freedom, kiddo, I said, hugging her. But we're not backing down. Inside, I was livid. That evening, I checked my email. No notification about the rule change. I started digging into the HOA and Linda Prescott. What I found was a goldmine. Asterisk, Linda had been HOA president for 12 years and owned Prescott Properties, a real estate firm specializing in Pinot Meadows homes. Social media showed her hosting exclusive events on the community green with catered brunches and string quartets, while enforcing petty rules on others. Buried in the HOA bylaws, I found the green was a shared asset, leased from Horizon Developments, the original builders. The lease was set to expire in 2 months. Asterisk, the next day, I met a neighbor, Tom Rivera, a retired city planner, walking his retriever. When I mentioned Linda, he chuckled grimly. You've met our neighborhood overlord, he said. She rules with an iron grip. Most folks pay the fines and keep quiet. Tom invited me for coffee and shared a binder of HOA complaints, selective enforcement, steep fines, and properties sold at a loss after relentless violations, often bought by Linda's firm. She's been snapping up homes through shell companies, Tom explained, and Horizon's in financial trouble. Linda's eyeing the green for luxury townhomes. As a firefighter, I knew how to read a situation and act fast. Over coffee, Tom introduced me to Alina Martinez, a local bookkeeper who'd clashed with Linda after being fined for unapproved porch plants. Alina had tracked HOA fines, revealing a pattern. Newer residents and those with non-conforming displays like flags or cultural decorations were cited at triple the rate of Linda's allies. Properties sold under duress often ended up with Linda's LLC's asterisk. Her firm uses proxies like Meadow Investments to hide her involvement, Alina said, showing me records. She's planning to buy the green when Horizon's lease expires, claiming it's for community enhancements, but it's for her profit. I dug deeper. Horizon was struggling after a failed commercial project, and the green, valued at $450,000, was one of their last assets. Linda was negotiating to buy it for her firm, not the HOA, planning to restrict access and develop part of the land. Her flag ban was a move to control the community's image ahead of her deal. With Tom and Alina, I formed a quiet coalition of frustrated residents. We met in secret libraries, coffee shops, even a neighbor's garage to avoid Linda's informants. Stories poured in, fines for noisy kids, bikes, unapproved mailbox designs, even a citation for a veteran's memorial wreath that had hung for years. Sarah Kim, a nurse, was fined for her kid's soccer net on the green, while Linda's allies faced no scrutiny. Omar Hassan, a professor, was cited for his non-compliant porch light after questioning Linda at a meeting. Meanwhile, I researched Linda's finances. Her firm was over-leveraged, relying on high-interest loans to sustain her image. The green deal was her lifeline. If it failed, she'd collapse. I saw my opening. Alina connected me with a Horizon contact, Mike Delgado, who confirmed their desperation. Linda offered $450,000, payable over 24 months, Mike said. We need cash now. I offered $500,000, all cash, closing in 8 days. Mike's eyes lit up. That'll get our board's attention, but Linda's got city council buddies. Fight dirty. I'm counting on it, I said. I set up Sullivan Holdings LLC to keep my purchase anonymous. As the deal progressed, Linda escalated her attacks. I received fines for overgrown hedges trimmed last week, unapproved window shades, and even my flagpole's non-compliant base. Riley got a notice for leaving her track shoes on the porch for an hour. Other coalition members faced similar harassment. Tom's bird feeder was cited for aesthetic disruption. Sarah for excessive garden mulch. Then came the worst blow. Riley came home crying after kids at school, egged on by Linda's ally, Margaret Cole, called her family unpatriotic troublemakers who didn't belong. I nearly gave up, but Tom urged me to stay. She's driven out others, makes them sell cheap, then her firm buys. Don't let her win. The Green's environmental report was clean, and Horizon accepted my offer. I kept it secret, sharing only with Tom and Alina. Meanwhile, Linda announced an HOA meeting to push a $70 month green enhancement fee, claiming it was for upgrades but really to fund her purchase. She showed renderings of a private clubhouse, shrinking the public space. At the meeting, she targeted me indirectly, warning about disruptive newcomers hurting property values. Alina stood up, questioning her finances, only for Linda to dig up a settled tax issue from Elena's past, framing her as untrustworthy. When Sarah suggested a vote on the green plans, Linda hinted at issues with her hospital's licensing. The room fell silent. But I stayed calm. The green was mine. Days later, Linda learned Horizon sold it to an anonymous buyer and confronted me at my doorstep. I know you're behind this, she hissed. You can't steal our green. Check. The lease terms, I replied coolly. It expires in 22 days, and the owner decides renewal. Good luck. Linda's desperation grew. She held closed-door HOA meetings, rallied Mayor Ellen Hayes for zoning threats which Tom confirmed were baseless, and hosted a community legacy event on the green, excluding newer residents. That's when I made my move. I didn't just want to win, I wanted to make a statement. I rented a 50-foot construction crane from a buddy's company, parked it on my property, and hoisted a massive 20 by 30-foot American flag high above Pinot Meadows, visible for miles. The neighborhood buzzed, and Linda's event, with 70 of her loyalists, was overshadowed by the towering stars and stripes. Asterisk, I arrived with Tom, Elena, my attorney, Rachel Lee, and a sheriff's deputy, Carl Norris. As Linda toasted our greens, future, I took the microphone. Good evening. I'm Jack Sullivan, the new owner of this green. I held up the deed. You're trespassing. The HOA's lease is terminated early due to maintenance violations, pesticides harming the soil. You have 15 minutes to leave. Asterisk, Linda's face turned purple. This is outrageous. The HOA has rights. Asterisk, no, I said, pointing to the crane. That's my property, and so is this green. I've filed a trespassing complaint. Officer Norris, please assist. Asterisk, the crowd dispersed, some glaring at Linda, others snapping photos of the flag. About time, one whispered. I posted private property signs and hired security. At a press conference, I announced plans for a community green with free flag-raising ceremonies for kids, emphasizing environmental restoration after HOA neglect. Asterisk, Linda sued, claiming community harm, but the case was dismissed. Residents turned on her as her townhome plans leaked. At the next HOA meeting, Sarah exposed $95,000 in misallocated funds for projects benefiting Linda's allies. Omar revealed her selective fines. A vote to audit the HOA passed 85-15. Asterisk, I offered free green access to kids, except those of HOA leaders, unless they resigned. Margaret Cole quit the board days later, citing personal reasons. 3 others followed. Linda's final mistake was caught on my cameras. She and an ally dumped fertilizer on the green, likely to fake contamination. The sheriff charged her with trespassing and environmental tampering. Asterisk, investigations uncovered Prescott Properties' shady deals, forcing Linda to sell her home to buyers. Thanks to her toxic reputation, I bought the mortgage notes on 18% of Pinot Meadows homes, including Linda's offering fair refinancing if the HOA reformed. Residents voted out the old board, electing Sarah as president with transparent rules and an ethics committee. Asterisk, the green, renamed Emily's Field, became a community trust, open to all. Riley and I hosted a flag-raising day with families saluting together. As we raised the flag that evening, Riley smiled. Mum would love this. Dad, she'd be proud of us both, I said. A year later, Pinot Meadows was a model for HOA reform. Linda moved away, her firm bankrupt. I declined a city council run but started a scholarship in Emily's name for kids of first responders. Sometimes, beating a bully means flying your flag high around, rewriting the rules. Asterisk, if you're fighting an HOA tyrant, know the rules, rally your allies, and make a statement they can't ignore.